Karibu sana. This is Kim Speaks, and this series is all about self-awareness. We've done 3 episodes so far, and now we are on episode 4, and we're going to look at today at the myths and facts about self-awareness. Now, before I continue, make sure you tell me what are some of the myths that you've heard about self-awareness, and what are the facts that you know about self-awareness. You can comment hapo chini down below there. So looking at the myths that we have, and actually myths that people have about self-awareness. One, it is related with the concept of changing the world. You cannot change the world. You can only change yourself, and then the things around you will incline towards your change, and you will see them change also. So there is no point of setting out on a journey to change the world, to change your brother, to change your spouse, to change your workmate. What you need to do is to look into you and change that thing that reacts badly with what they do. If you change that, now they consequently change. Now you cannot change the world, you can only change you. 2, self-awareness is not about unraveling the deep secrets and the deep dark parts of you. It is totally not about that. It is purely about understanding who you are, what you do, and why you do it the way you do it. It is not about going into the tough parts and getting all the unpleasant things. It is basically about understanding. The third thing is that self-awareness is not about qualifying things and qualifying personality and determining if I'm an introvert or an extrovert. Now that is part of it, it's part of the journey, it is actually the start of the journey, but it is more about understanding, now that I'm an introvert, how does this affect me? How does this make me relate with other people? How does this influence how I live my life? And actually knowing the emotions and the instincts that are underlying that. And the fourth myth that we're going to demystify today about self-awareness is that self-awareness is not a destination. You do not achieve self-awareness. It's not a pinnacle that you get to. You can live in that zone, but it calls for work every day. Hence, self-awareness is a journey. Self-awareness is something that you start and you live doing forever, because every day you grow, every day you interact with different scenarios, different people, different thoughts, different exposures. So you cannot be at a static point of self-awareness. It's a dynamic thing. You grow every day, you process different thoughts every day. So it's a journey and not a destination. Now that we have looked at some of the myths that surround this concept of self-awareness, let's look at actually the facts, the truths, what is really happening with self-awareness. Now, one interesting fact is that 80% of the people that think they are self-aware are actually not. That is interesting. 80% think that they are self-aware, but they actually are not. This is because it calls for a lot of work for you to get to the point that you can actually claim that you're self-aware, and most of us are not ready to put in the work. Most of us are not ready to work for it. That's why 80% of the people who think that they are self-aware are actually not self-aware. Fact number 2 is that self-awareness is actually all about understanding who you are, why you do what you do, and why you do it how you do it. That is the plain truth about self-awareness. Fact number 3 is that there is a distinction between consciousness and self-awareness. Now, consciousness, as we said, is just the ability to respond to external stimuli, the neocortex part of processing, and self-awareness calls for deeper, because it is the ability to process internal stimuli, which is more about emotions and how you feel. So there is a distinction between consciousness and self-aware. Consciousness is where all of us are, but self-awareness is where those who take the journey go to. And fact number 4 is that self-awareness is all a journey. It is not a destination. It is a journey where you keep growing every day, because every day you interact with different people, different thoughts, different exposures, different things that happen in your life, and you need to process things on a daily basis. So it is a journey. You will never get to an end of self-awareness. You will just be improving and growing and doing it on a daily basis. And then fact number 5 is that actually self-awareness requires courage. And this is not the courage and bravery part of it, but the courage to understand and acknowledge even the bad things about yourself. When we started this, we said that all the things that happen to you, be they positive or negative, are actually caused by you. Now, getting to understand that you caused the bad things in your life, that is where courage comes in. Getting to understand that actually I can be the toxic person in the relationship, I can be the toxic person in the workplace, I can be the toxic person in our friendship, I can be the one bringing bad things into whatever space that you are in. Getting the courage to understand that, acknowledge it, and work towards it is a massive part of self-awareness. In the next video, we are actually going to look into what it means to be self-aware and the importance and relevance and actually some of the advantages that come with being self-aware. Before you stop watching this, make sure you like this video, comment, and follow me across all social media channels so that we can keep this conversation going and we can actually better ourselves to live the best life that we were meant to live on this earth. See you.